Hey guys, what's going on? It's Louie here, and I am back today to kind of restart my channel again. I will have a full video on where I will be going with this channel tomorrow, but for today I am going to be starting a new series that I think a lot of you are going to really enjoy. I am going to be doing a Fortnite tutorial series for PC players in which I give my take on how to really get better at this game and go from an absolute beginner to a player that is proficient in all aspects of the game that are important to learn. Unlike other tutorials, this series is going to have a set beginning and end, the first video being the very first things you need to know, and the later videos becoming more and more specific and advanced. This video, being the very first video of the series, is going to cover the absolute basics and fundamentals of the game, including equipment and keybinds and what you need to know once you are in your first game of Fortnite. I will have another series for more advanced players soon, but for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Alright, first things first, let's talk about equipment. It is very possible to get to a decent level of Fortnite without buying any of the equipment I'm about to mention, as long as you have a basic mouse and keyboard. However, Fortnite is a game which requires you to react quickly to various high pressure situations, and having equipment to help you achieve this never hurts. First, let's go to the monitor. Of all the equipment I'm about to mention, this is probably the least important. However, it is something that is nice to have if you can afford it. For beginning or entry-level players, I recommend this Acer KG241Q because it is very reasonably priced but offers very high-end specs, including a 1 millisecond response time and a 75 Hz refresh rate. You can find these used on eBay for under $100, and it is the monitor that I am currently using to play Fortnite on. If you're going to invest in a mouse for this game, and I'd say of all the things if you want to invest in one thing, this is probably the most important. I recommend either the Logitech G600, the Razer Naga Chroma, or the UTech Smart Venus. They're all very similar and have one key thing that sets them apart from other mouses, which is the 12 programmable keys that they have on the side. This means that you can do things like quickly switch between weapons with your thumb without having to move your hand from the keyboard. I've played with both the Chroma and the Venus, and they are both phenomenal mouses with great software to help you customize colors, set DPI, and program buttons to your liking. Next, let's talk about something that may surprise you, which is the mousepad. I highly recommend getting a mousepad from the company Glorious because their oversized mousepads are exactly what you need in Fortnite. I play with the 11x13 one, however, I am considering upping that to something much larger so I can have even more precise mouse movements. Finally, you do need to make sure you have headphones. Sound is one of the biggest aspects of Fortnite, and it honestly doesn't really matter where you get them from, but make sure that they are comfortable if you plan on playing Fortnite for hours and hours at a time. In terms of keyboard, as long as you have something that is responsive and that you are comfortable with, it's not too important what you use. One more thing before we actually jump into Fortnite, let's go over some of the Windows settings you need to change before you get into this game involving the mouse. So first things first, open up your start and head over to mouse settings. Then you want to head over to additional mouse options, and I believe in pointer options you want to make sure that enhanced pointer precision is off. What this is a feature that Windows enables where if you move your mouse long distances, it'll start to accelerate on its own. In theory, this sounds fine, but in gaming, this is really not something you want to have enabled because it's just going to cause you to be less precise instead of more precise. Secondly, assuming you did get a mouse which has drivers and side buttons, or even just a basic mouse which has drivers, you want to make sure you open up that software, that driver software. Make sure acceleration is off, set your pointer speed and scroll speed to whatever, but the important thing is that you set your DPI to something more reasonable than what they come with. If you're just starting out with this game, I don't recommend going above 700, but once you get better at the game, you can raise that or lower that as you feel more comfortable. But yeah, now let's hop into Fortnite. Before we get into a game, we still need to go over a couple settings that you need to make sure you have set before you get into the game. Like I said before, you want to make sure your DPI when you're first starting is around 700. But the other thing you need to make sure you adjust, which is super important, is your mouse sensitivity. I'm pretty sure when you first start Fortnite, it's at something like 0.36, which is just ridiculous. You want to set it when you're first starting to something where if you put your mouse on the very left side of your mouse pad and move it all the way to the very right side of your mouse pad, your character is doing about 3/4 or one full rotation. I vary my mouse sensitivity depending on how I'm feeling. If I'm playing really well, I might raise it a little bit. If I'm playing badly, I might lower it a little bit, but I normally keep it around 0.09. When you're first starting, I'd say you can probably put it around this number, maybe a little bit lower, and then as you get more confident, you can adjust it to where you feel fit. For the ADS, I'd say just for starting purposes set it at 0.75, and for scope sensitivity set it at 0.65. The very last thing that we need to go over before you get into Fortnite is keybinds. Now, this is very much up to your own personal preference. However, you want to make sure that for building, which is wall, floor, stair, roof, not so important, you want to make sure that these are set to keys that you can access very quickly without necessarily having to take your hand off the WASD keys, at least not for more than like half a second. For me, I have these set to my mouse. I use the UTech Smart Venus, and I have this set to the 7, 8, and 9 side keys on my mouse. There are other things that I have customized, but that's kind of just because what I feel most comfortable using, so that I'm still able to keep my left hand on the keyboard or not have to move it too much. But yeah, that's about it for keybinds, and now let's jump into our very first game. Alright, before we jump into our first game and hit play, let me explain the very basic fundamentals of Fortnite, assuming that you've never played a game of Fortnite before and you are here to just learn what this game is about and what you need to know before you jump into your first game. So the way Fortnite works is you've got 100 people who all fly in on a magical flying bus. You jump onto the map and you basically use your materials and weapons and whatever you find to try and maximize your potential of being the last person standing. If you are, of course, the last person standing, you win. So the reason Fortnite differs from a lot of other shooting games is because instead of just having to use your natural cover to protect yourself, there's the aspect of mining for resources and building. And what this means is two really good players can have a fight right out in the open and just use building to protect themselves from each other. And at the professional level, this looks absolutely insane. In Fortnite, to classify weapons, Fortnite uses, and items as well, Fortnite uses 5 different classifications: common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. Common items are gray, uncommon are green, rare are blue, epic are purple, and legendary are gold. The common items are obviously the most commonly found. You can find them all over the place, including in chests and as ground loot. They generally are the worst weapons in the game and do the least amount of damage. Epic weapons, on the other hand, are your rarest weapons in the game. They are much harder to find. You can find them in supply drops, or I think you can find some legendaries in chests as well. And they of course deal your most damage and are your most effective weapons.